Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I want to say a special thank you today for all the new subscribers. I am so heartwarmed. I started this channel doing classic book reviews, which I will continue to do. But this case, this Lori Vallow Daybell and Chad Daybell case has got me interested, and it seems like a lot of you also are really fascinated by it. You want to know why it happened, how it happened, and you want to follow the case with me, and it gives me somebody to talk to about it because the folks in this house don't really care about this case. So it's a good place to sit and woodshed together, and you can leave comments in the comment section below, which I love. I want to give a caveat that this is just my opinions. This video is my opinions. It's not fact. It's, nobody's guilty until adjudicated guilty in a court of law. And also I'm going to be talking about some actions of the police, and I do realize that hindsight is 20/20. So I want to go ahead and pepper and salt my opinions with knowledge that I know it's easy to sit back a year later and be hypercritical of people. I mean, that's not how it works in the real world. So caveats aside, let's get into it. All right, today we're going to talk about the alleged self-defense murder of Charles Vallow by Alex Cox. And I say alleged because I don't think that it was self-defense. I think if you use Alex Cox's own testimony, it's not self-defense. But let's get into it. The county of the crime is Chandler, Arizona. Charles Vallow, husband of Lori Vallow, could say estranged, but husband of Lori Vallow, has arrived at the condo of Lori Vallow to pick up their special needs son, JJ. He's arrived in his own rental car. At what point does Charles notice that Alex Cox is there at the apartment? That's never been mentioned, as far as I know. He thinks he's going to pick up his son and take his son to school. What did he think when he saw Uncle Alex Cox, Lori's brother, there? Surely, Charles Vallow is aware of Alex Cox's previous violence against Lori's ex-husband. Okay? So, according to Alex's own testimony, which largely this video is going to concern itself with, in addition to the police body cams that I watched multiple times, according to Alex Cox's own testimony, it's not really truly a real self-defense case. But let's continue. Alex Cox tells the police who arrived at the scene, and this is all in the body cam video, quote, "He came at me with a bat. When asked, Alex Cox explained to the police, then she left. I'd broken up a tussle with them earlier." Okay. And then you see on the body cam videos that the police are talking about DV. Oh, there was a DV earlier. Well, there really wasn't a DV, was there? DV stands for domestic violence. No one was called out for DV at this residence. This is just Alex Cox's words that he and Lori got into a verbal spat, not a physical spat, and that Tylee comes out with a bat because she feared for her mother, allegedly, and that she just poked Charles Vallow, and that Charles took the bat. I guess he put it on the floor or whatever. And that allegedly Lori, now mind you, Alex Cox tells a story, he doesn't tell it consistently. He tells it different ways. But allegedly, according to Alex Cox, Lori leaves with JJ and Tylee, okay, and then this incident occurs. So keep that in mind. These are Alex Cox's own inconsistent statements. So Alex tells the police that he's just visiting. So keep that in mind, all right? He doesn't live at this residence. In different states, you have a castle doctrine, and if you live at the residence and someone comes in, you have the right to kill them if they're threatening you. Heck, if someone just breaks into your house, you have the right to kill them in my state, all right? If you don't live there, you still have the right to defend yourself, okay? But in different states, the rights that you have to retreat are lessened. You don't have to retreat in my state. You don't have to retreat. It's your castle. You know what I mean? If someone comes at you with a bat, you don't have to retreat. Here the thing is, Alex doesn't live there. So Alex tells the story that his niece comes out with a bat to defend Lori during a confrontation, all right? And that Tylee allegedly poked Charles Vallow, her father, with the bat. And that Alex told them that they needed to separate. So Alex tells Charles and Lori, you need to separate. And that Lori then takes the kids and leaves. This is according to Alex, that Lori takes the kids and leaves. All right, so she's not there on the presence when this incident occurs. See, but he doesn't explicitly state to the police that Lori leaves taking Charles Vallow's rental car. All right, until the police ask. They look at the cars that are in the driveway. Cars are in the driveway, guys. And he asks to think you've got Lori's car or vehicle and you've got Alex Cox's vehicle. But Lori takes off in Charles Vallow's rental car? Why? Again, this is in retrospect, to sit back and ask why. That is important to know. Why didn't Lori use her own car or even use Alex's car to take the kids to school or to get away or whatever? Was it because she was trying to trap Charles Vallow there, to leave him there? Think about that. How did she get the rental car keys? Did she go through his pockets and grab them and leave? Did he say, hey, here, take my rental car? I'm supposed to be taking JJ to school? It makes no sense, guys. So according to Alex, Charles Vallow starts accusing him of something. That's what he says initially. There's more than one body cam video. But this isn't followed up upon. I think the police says, accusing you of what? But then another tangent gets gone on. So what in the world was Charles Vallow allegedly accusing Alex of? What? I'm curious. To this day, I want to know. We're never going to know, all right? Again, we're taking Alex Cox's word for it. For all I know, he could have walked in the house and been shot dead, all right? But here we go. Allegedly, Charles Vallow started accusing Alex Cox of something, which isn't followed up on. And so then Charles Vallow takes the bat. So we're supposed to believe that he's being accused of something and he turns his back, that Alex Cox turns his back to Charles Vallow, a guy with a bat. Okay, so Charles takes a bat, hits Alex on the back of the head. And so I went into my room and got my gun. My room. All right, it's a room that you slept in. Okay, my room, all right. You don't live there, but you're going to call it my room. I went into my room and got my gun. Quote, I told him to put the bat down and he wouldn't, and he came at me. And I'm like, what's your problem? He always used this like really funny little voice, like, what's your problem, man? What's your problem? Okay. At this point, all right, let's back it up. Charles Vallow takes a bat, boops Alex Cox on the head. Alex walks to the bedroom, picks up his gun. Let's stop right there. You have a duty to retreat from a fight. You have a fight. You got two people, okay? Person A, person B. Person A accuses person B of something. Person B says something back, turns around, all right? You got the aggressor, I guess, and the person here. Person A takes a bat, whaps person B. This person is the one in the wrong. They're in the aggressor. This person only has a right in self-defense to equal or lesser the attack back, all right? They also have a duty to retreat if they can, all right? So when he goes off, person B goes off into his bedroom, it's over, all right? Because he can shut the door. Now, if this person has a gun and the gun could shoot through the door, then this person would have a right to not, they didn't have to retreat to the same extent. They could, like imagine a nightclub shooting. You could get your gun and shoot back because you are still in fear. But when you can go into your room and shut the door against a bat, you're not in fear anymore. Game over, all right? This person's still the aggressor, this one isn't. The minute this person picks up a gun and comes back out, they have brought a gun to a bat fight, and now they're the aggressor. You following me? This is no longer self-defense. He goes, put down the bat, right? And this person, I should get the puppets out. Put down the bat, and this person goes, no, doesn't put the bat down. This one shoots him. Boop, 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 boop. This person is now the aggressor. This isn't self-defense. It's not self-defense even according to Alex Cox's own words. One has to use force that's commensurate to the harm presented at the time. So Alex Cox had a duty to retreat if possible. And he did. He could have gone in the bedroom, shut the door, and called 911. All right? Let's say he's in the room and he shuts the door. This isn't The Shining. This isn't a hatchet. I mean, this is a bat. Charles Vallow isn't going to break through the door like Jack Nicholson in The Shining and go, honey, he can't do any more damage to Alex Cox in a bedroom when he's out there with the bat. Now, let me throw another monkey wrench into it. Had Lori been there with the kids, then Alex might have had a self-defense, a legitimate self-defense. He could have said, oh my God, the kids were in the living room, the kids were in the house, he had a bat, he hit me, I had to bring my gun, and if he didn't drop the bat, I'd have to shoot him. Thing is, Lori wasn't at the house, according to his own words. There wasn't anybody else he had to protect, so he had the duty to retreat, and the thing is he escalated the violence. So according to Alex Cox's own testimony, this is a faulty self-defense. Sorry, that's how it goes. Additionally, since he was using a gun, why did Alex Cox not just kneecap Charles? Why didn't he hit him in the leg? Why didn't he hit him in the knee? Why did he hit him in the chest? Why not hobble him? This makes no sense. Again, nobody was in the house with him that he needed to protect other than himself, according to him. There wasn't Lori, wasn't the kids. He wasn't he had a bat. That's what he had, a bat. When you look at the wound that Alex Cox has on the back of his head, neck area right here, it's just like a little tiny red mark. I mean, it might have been a little bump, a love tap. It's just a little red mark on the back of his head, neck, down by his collar line. So after Charles Vallow was shot, Alex told police that he goes back into the bedroom, puts down his gun, gets his phone, cleans up his head, all right? Cleans up his head, and took a minute to compose himself before calling 911. Who does that? Who cleans up their wound before calling 911 when you shot somebody and they're dying in the living room? So you can hear the 911 call. And he's urged to give CPR. And seemingly he goes through allegedly the motions of it. But listen to the facts here. The EMS arrive, all right? Because you've got someone that's been shot in the chest. And if someone was hit in the head with a bat and the other person is now dead, wouldn't the EMS be seeing to Alex Cox's head wound, okay, for a possible concussion? Because anyone hitting you in the head is going to ring your darn bell. It's going to ring your bell. So let's talk about some facts here. Where is the blood? Where's the blood on Alex? Where's his wound? He has a little wound on the back of his head, down by his collar line. Not a big, huge eggshell, swelling wound or anything. Why isn't there more of a wound? Charles Vallow played minor league baseball, and he allegedly hits Alex Cox and leaves the brains in his skull. Do you believe that? Also, where's the blood on Alex Cox's hands or his shirt or whatever if he allegedly gave CPR to a dying Charles who has gunshot wounds to his chest? Think about that. How do you give CPR to someone, okay, with gunshot wounds on their chest and not get it on your hands, your forearms, and your shirt? How? Methinks he didn't give CPR to Charles Vallow. Why not? Because he shot Charles Vallow. Why'd he shoot him? Was it a setup? So I'm going to ask some questions here, and I'd love you to drop your opinions in the comments section. Okay, my question to you is, why did Lori Vallow take the kids in Charles Vallow's rental car? To trap him there? Okay, why did she take the rental car? Why didn't she take her own car, Alex's car? What do you think? Drop a line in the comment section. So second question, why did Lori leave the scene of the crime? We know she left the scene of the crime because you can see on the body cam videos her coming back with Tylee, all right? And coming upon the police. So was it to remove the witnesses and to get the story straight before she had to talk to police? That's my opinion. That's why I think she left the scene of the crime. So why? Why not stay there? Why not try to help your husband? Did she not see anything? Was she gone before this altercation occurred? Because that's what Alex Cox says. she wasn't present for it. She was present for the earlier violence, the earlier tussle, but that she'd already left. Okay, so that's his story, right? Keep that in mind. So here's the third question. If Lori Vallow left the scene of the crime before Charles was dead, when she arrived back on the scene with Ty Lee, why wasn't she surprised that her husband was dead? Why wasn't she going, oh my God, what happened? Oh my God, what happened? Why wasn't that? Why is there crime scene tape in front of the truck and, in front of my house? What's going on? Why are you here? We don't get that. Why? Why didn't the police wonder? Why didn't the police wonder her demeanor? Okay. Granted, you have a child there kind of backing up the story, which again is unfortunate. So you got Lori's demeanor, you got Alex Cox with a love tap on the back of his head, all right, hit by a bat, probably by Ty Lee, I swear. Anyway, that's my opinion. You have Lori taken off with the rental car instead of her own car. You've got alleged domestic violence with no call-in ahead of time, all right, alleged. So these are some of the things I'd be like, who is this guy to, that the police should be wondering in my mind, who is this guy in relation to the victim that's laying on the floor? He's the brother-in-law. Okay. All right. I want to talk to that wife. I want to talk to all the witnesses. I want to find out what's going on. This is like police work, right? Fourth question. Why weren't Lori and Ty Lee separated initially when they're standing around and you can see it on the body cam and the initial questions are being given? When they're giving their testimony, the first testimony is sometimes the most important testimony. Okay, it's like an excited utterance. You know what I'm saying? Lori would come up and be like, oh my God, what happened? None of that, all right? They weren't separated. Lori and Ty Lee are standing right there. Why are they questioned together? Bad, bad, bad. You need to separate them. I know that Ty Lee was underage, okay? You could argue, well, she's the mother and she had the right to be there with their daughter. They also need to be separated. And there were more than one police officer there at the scene by now. So there's no excuse that they only had one officer and couldn't separate them. So anyway, so in fairness to the police, perhaps the reason they were not separated initially because Alex Cox told them they weren't even there. So they wouldn't be viewed as a witness. All right, they'd be a witness to the earlier violence, but they wouldn't have been a witness to the crime. So maybe that's why the police didn't separate them, because when you have a witness, you separate those witnesses. But in my mind, this is a bad move because Lori spoke first. Ty Lee was standing there and allowed Ty Lee to know what the story would be that she had to follow. This is in my opinion, okay? You have Lori telling the police when she arrives at the scene, her demeanor isn't right for finding out her husband has been shot, or that there's police, even if they didn't tell her then, which they didn't. The police crime scene tape outside your house is a good indicia that something horrible has gone on. You see your brother sitting at the curb, talking to police. Obviously, something's going on in the house. You're going to be reacting to that. She is cool as a cucumber. And you got to ask yourself her demeanor, why it is the way that it was. And then with her telling her story in front of Ty Lee, it's cementing it that Ty Lee is going to know that this is the story she's going to have to follow. True or not? All right? So allegedly, in my opinion, you always separate the witnesses. Fifth question. In the body cam videos, you can see a neighbor come up to talk. All right? And the officer shoos off the neighbor. Just out of hand, just shoos them off. And I want to know, was that person a possible witness? Did they overhear anything? And if so, that was a bad move. They could have said, did you hear what went on? Okay, go stand over there. But they just shoot them off, and maybe it was just a nosy neighbor. That's a possibility. Question number 6. Did the police test the hands of Alex Cox for gunshot residue? And you might say, Thielen, why would they? He admitted to shooting Charles. And you might say to yourself, Thielen, why would they? Why would they test Alex Cox's hands for gunshot residue when he admitted he shot Alex Cox? You've already got the smoking gun, it's in his hand. Well, in retrospect, because you doubt that he could be the one that shot him. You think that maybe somebody else in the house. Maybe Lori shot him. But, they didn't test, I don't think, for gunshot residue because they took the story at face value. However, if they had tested his hands, they would have known who it was for sure was the shooter. They would have known. And if they had taken fingerprints of the bat, they would have known who all touched the bat. But, that's a lot of forensics for someone who is putting his hands up and saying, oh, I did it. But you know what? If you had taken the fingerprints off the bat, according to Alex Cox, you should have Tylee's fingerprints on it. You should have Charles Vallow's fingerprints on it. And that's the only folks that should have fingerprints on the bat. I mean, could you imagine if, there's a chance there wouldn't be fingerprints on a bat, depending on whether it was a metal bat or a wooden bat. Fingerprints aren't always left, and sometimes there's smudges. But wouldn't that be something if nobody's fingerprints were on that bat? Or maybe just Alex Cox's fingerprints? Like someone putting the bat as like a staging mechanism? All right, so number 7, did the officers look at the bat in question? Did it have blood on it? Okay, so we don't want to go to the lengths of having the bat dusted for fingerprints. Can we look at the bat and see if the bat even had blood on it? Alex Cox, like I said, he had a small wound-like mark on the back of his neck, down by his collar line. Again, a man like Charles, who played minor league baseball, is not going to leave Alex Cox's brains in his head, I don't think. So if there's no blood on the bat, wouldn't that make you wonder? All right, what do you think? And the last question, if the officers had run Alex Cox's name in the database, what would they have seen? If they had run Alex Cox's name in their database, they would have seen that he had been convicted, that he had been arrested for assault and battery and convicted for that charge. And it would have said Joe Ryan as the victim. Now, I doubt without them looking into it that it would have said husband of sister. So it would just have been a person, Joe Ryan. So you'd see, if you ran his name, it would say Alex Cox, assault and battery on Joe Ryan. It would have a date, but it wouldn't have specified the intricacies that Alex Cox had a habit of assaulting and battering Lori's husbands and ex-husbands. And that's a pertinent fact to know. But I don't think they ever ran Alex Cox's name or queried him on that front. So I think finally that to add it all up, the demeanor is evidence. That the way they acted, the way Alex Cox even was like ho-hoing it up and like, yeah, we were supposed to do something fun today, And then, of course, after the fact, they go and have a pool party. But the demeanor of Alex and Lori, they're calm, they're cool, they're collected. Lori comes on the scene. She's not having a nervous breakdown. She's not freaking out. She's not asking repeatedly what happened. She's just like, oh, yeah, yeah. That's odd. That's odd as hell. You have a bat, does it have blood on it? You have a guy that's allegedly been hit in the head so hard that he felt compelled to go and defend himself and grab a gun. Is there blood on the bat? Are there fingerprints on the bat? What's his head wound look like? He doesn't have blood on his hands. He might have allegedly or didn't give CPR. I mean, you have the wife going off in the husband's rental car when there's two seemingly working cars right there. You have witnesses that were allegedly taken away from the crime. This thing is a hot mess, but let me just sum it up. According to Alex Cox's own testimony, this is a faulty self-defense because he not only had the duty to retreat, he did retreat, and he came back and brought a gun to a bat fight, and this is the result. So in my opinion, it was faulty. And I think that if you were to look at it again today, you would find that Alex Cox would catch some charges. It's crazy. This case is absolutely insane. One could say that the Chandler cops dropped the ball on this one, and I would agree, they dropped the ball. But it is easy, looking back, to point out every faulty thing they did. It's easy to do that. I mean, you could be running people's names and see they have orders of protection and all that stuff, but you also have to keep in mind that in this case you have more than one jurisdiction, and they are many times limited to what goes on in their own jurisdiction. Just saying that. So there are some caveats to the people that want to blame all of this on the cops. The cops do the best they can, but sometimes they do drop the ball, and they did drop the ball by not checking the bat at the very least, you know? Just saying. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please answer some of the questions with what you think in the comment section below. Do you think that Alex Cox is really the one that shot Charles Vallow? Do you think that Lori and the kids were really not there? If someone said, Thielen, what's your opinion? I would say that I think that something went on, that there was some kind of a ruckus. I think that part is probably true. Who knows if Ty Lee is the one that whacked Alex? Because that was a light hit, guys. That was a light hit. And I think that somebody shot Charles. More than likely it was Alex that did it. And I think that Lori and the kids saw it, and that is why they left. And I also think that the reason why they put JJ in school and got him away from it is because who knows what a special needs kid would say. Okay, so they had to totally have them off the scene for the initial statements. And I also think that that's a reason, part and parcel of why the kids aren't around today, because they saw what really happened to Charles Vallow. And who knows what they started saying as they were growing up, you know, in that following year. Who knows that in a moment of anger, maybe at mom, that maybe perhaps Ty Lee said something like, you killed my stepdad. Who knows? But I do believe that that's the reason why every single person in the story I just told you, except the police, except Lori, is dead. Every single person in the story I just told you, except for Lori Vallow, is now dead. Let that sink in. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like and subscribe for more videos like this. I also do classic book reviews. So if you have any you'd like me to review, I'd be happy to do so. So without further ado, have an excellent day. Bye.